Okay, we're back again with Fedora 25. Well, we're going to reformat this Dell 1525 laptop that has Fedora 25 on it over here. I'm using it right now just to monitor my live stream, make sure everything is working good. And over to my desktop screencast, I'm actually working on a Fedora 23 system, which sooner or later got to update it too. But the last thing I did was I had set UNetBoot to writing the Debian 8. I'll show it. Debian live. I like to do live so I can see, well, part of so I can make this video, but also just I kind of like using the live version to do the install. With the it doesn't really matter if you're just installing, then it doesn't matter except. This is Debian Live 8.8 AMD 64, so it'll work on Intel's. That's a given. I guess they expect you to catch on to that. Of course, when you're new to it, you don't catch on to any of it. You got to learn. But anyway, it works on Intel AMD 64-bit. The way they write it out is kind of weird. That's the one the ISO that I burned. I didn't burn it. I wrote it over, extracted it and wrote it over to the USB stick. Now, they kind of have this app set up like you're doing it on the machine you're going to going to install to, but I'm not installing to this machine, so I don't ever want to click reboot. I don't know if it would reboot this system or not, but I don't want it to. So, it's set up there when it was doing it, downloading files, extracting and copying. If you were watching it, it would tell you these things as it happened. Installing the bootloader, and then installation complete, reboot, current, of course. After rebooting, select the USB boot option in the BIOS boot menu. Most of the time, the newer machines will just boot to a USB stick. If they don't, you're going to have to go into BIOS on your machine to select the USB boot. So a lot of times you can hit F11 or F12 to get into the select a different boot device besides the hard drive too. But as a matter of fact, the newer the machine is, the more likely it is that's what you're probably going to want to do. It's usually easier than trying to get into BIOS. But anyway, I don't want to reboot now. I just want to hit exit. So I got out of UNetBootin', and that's the app I used to write it to. The previous video, that's the whole thing. It was about doing that. And so if you want to see that, if you don't know how to do it and you're wanting to do this, then go back and watch the video previous to this one. On my channel there, I make playlists, and I have a whole long playlist of all this process on this Fedora 25, 26, and Debian 8 and 9. And some of it I ran, I put 25 on the laptop, and then I decided that the laptop, it's a Core 2 with 3 gig of RAM. And by the way, if you have something like that, maybe you better go to Debian. That's what I'm doing, because it's just a little more than the system can run well on nowadays. It ran fine great on. I know I had Fedora 17. I don't know if I had anything older than that. And then I progressed up to, I think I did 17, 19, and then 21. 21 was beginning to kind of overtake it after it had been on there about a year or more. It's all the junk all the plugins, the things you have to watch videos and stuff on, in the web browsers. Actually, Chrome is so resource heavy that it can hardly run Chrome on it. You can hardly do anything with Chrome. Firefox is the one I like anyway, so that's what I was using. I'm just sitting here, at least show the machine that I'm talking about or something, huh? Okay, so there's me and the machine, and that's just the my live stream page, But this system right now that's on here, that's Fedora 25, and Fedora's my favorite, and I really wanted to use Fedora, but it's what I mostly use this laptop for is to plug there's an S-Video out on it, and plug an S-Video cable into my TV, and I showed all that in the previous video too, to watch watch stuff on TV. So plus any system, you just want it to run good. So so here's my there it is, and let me think. Now my next step. Now right now, after I've let me go ahead and get back on my desktop so I can really show what I'm showing here. Okay, right now this little USB stick, it's a SanDisk, and it has this little called U3 system partition on it. That's just some little portable apps for Windows, really. And then see right there, that's where I wrote it to. Okay, so let's go look at that. I'm going to go into my Crusader Twin Panel File Manager. That's the folder I kept my image in. I went ahead and unplugged my big backup drive to make sure I didn't accidentally write to it and mess it up. So go up here. There's the U3 system. See, it just has actually, well, it has the launching app, and then it has a few little apps in here. See, it has a few portable apps. Not that that matters, but I don't remember. They don't do much of anything. Anyway, you can't delete it. So this right here, it gave it that automatically. The numbers. Usually it says something like the name of it or something, but it's just the app you use that does that. So here's the whole boot setup for Debian. No, Debian's always done that. See, there's an Windows executable on there. Setup execute, and that's just how it works. I mean, you're not going to be booting into Windows or anything, but as a Win32 loader INI, I don't know why they built it that way. You don't see that in very many Linux distros that I remember. Fedora definitely doesn't have anything like that in it. But anyway, you don't really, Jesse's the name of it. See, Debian installer's in there, MD64. I don't really remember where things are in here. And not that you really need to know. iNetrid GZ, that's part of the boot image stuff. ISO-Linux, there's some more stuff. Live, that'll be your, iNetrid IMG, that's the main image it boots to, and the Squash FS has to do with it. And anyway, if you see a whole bunch of folders in here after you've done that, then you're good. If you don't see much of anything or anything at all, then it didn't work right. So that's the main thing you need to I really pay attention to. Go back to, I just like to get things back to where I keeps me oriented. Okay, so the machine here, what I'm going to do now, let's see. Okay, my USB stick is down here, still in the clicked on the wrong one. So I'm going to take it. I've already got it written and everything. I'm going to take it out of here. And really kind of the best way to do it is to make it back to I added me another scene there with I can show the laptop and my desktop, but sometimes it'd be really cool, but right at the moment it's not that helpful. So anyway, I'm going to right click on it and safely remove. And it said, I should have read that. But anyway, the stick always does that. Then right click and say eject. Now that'll get both of them. I mean, you can just take it out, but sometimes it'll cause a little problem with my system. It still sees it if you just yank it out. And if you do it that way, then it won't just still see it. And so it's kind of funny. Different devices are different. My USB backup drive, you can just plug it and unplug it. But when you unplug it and then plug it back in, if you run your backup, my Lucky Backup app that I use, which runs automatically about 20 minutes after my boot up, if I was to happen to do that before then it'll put it on a different address. So you kind of want to pay attention to where things are being seen by your system. Anyway, as far as what we're doing here, that's a side note. Okay, desktop, cams 1 and 2. Okay, that'll be good. Okay, so here we go. USB stick. I'm going to go over here and put it in that machine. And I'll be losing my monitoring system over there, but that's okay. I'll just have to check back in on my main machine. So let's go put this over here. Okay, had my cables in the way. Have my my cables plugged in, VGA and everything. Let me get myself situated here. My chair it's gotten really contrary. It's got plastic legs, and the wheels are getting a little where they don't want to turn right and everything. So let's zoom in on this one. No, not that. That'd be two desktops. This one. Okay, nose is starting to. I'm gonna have to take care of this business here. Just give me a minute here. Sorry, I got as far away from the mic as I could get by turning my chair. Okay, so yeah, here's now this is a camera aim at the laptop. Of course, it's kind of a little bit blurry, but you can see what's going on pretty much. So that is my web browser. Guess I'll just close it. Yeah, stream health is good. It's really nice to be able to monitor it and see what's going on. Anyway, now we have our U3 system and our 2 gigabyte drive mounted up there. So, I mean, you don't have to actually do that while the system's running. You know, you can just plug it in when it's off. But it is kind of nice to know that it recognizes it and everything's good. It's not, of course, I knew it wasn't broken because I was looking at it in my other system. But now we're ready to, oh, yeah. Well, I'm getting ready to reboot, but I was thinking that the last time I did fiddle around with this with the 32-bit version, and I just started running through the installer, and after I got a little ways into it, it actually locked this system up, and I think it was because I hit screenshot on it because I saw some sort of error or something. I wanted to get a screenshot, but I think that happens every time you hit screenshot in there, to me. But also, I do have my VGA plugged in. I can show that. Okay, let me show it. Just got all these cameras for nothing here. Okay, so right there, see I got my VGA plugged in, my USB stick. Of course, the power and the wired Ethernet. You need that for until you get your Wi-Fi drivers installed. You need your wired Ethernet cable plugged in, because anytime you need I believe there are going to be I can't remember if it does any updates. I think if you install from actually, I don't think I have installed from the live stick yet. But if it tries to talk to the server, it can't unless you got it plugged in. Now, if you were using the net install, the smaller images, it wouldn't work without a network connection. So let me go back to my desktop here. For instance, I don't have my big drive plugged in. Well, that's Fedora. Okay, so I'm talking about ISO images. This is the one I'll put on there. This is a live image, and it'll boot up to a live image. If you're using just a plain installer, I'll go ahead and let me find my cable and plug it back in. Normally, I can find that in a heartbeat, my USB cable for my USB hard drive. But sometimes, let me grab my little camera. Okay, so I normally don't ever have to even look. I normally can just do it. For some reason, I was lost in the dark there. I can't see it because of my big old tray with my laptop on it and all that. So I was using the camera. I was looking at the preview to see it. So it gets disoriented. You know, you're doing it with a camera. It's different than when you're looking at it with your own two eyes. So back to adding that one more camera setting. I have 4 of them now, and I had 3 different scenes. It throws me off. Okay, so I plugged in my hard drive for a reason. Okay, keep getting myself turned around here. Okay, now I'm going to go over here I'm going to delete this while I'm thinking about it. It uses up space, too much space, because I have it on my. I put it on there so I could unplug that to make sure I didn't accidentally mess up and format my big old backup drive because it's USB and USB sticks USB. So the last thing in the world I want to do is accidentally format or even just write that boot image to that thing. It would just be a bunch of files that'd be hard to find and get rid of. So I'm gonna go to Debian here. See, I have several images. I'll organize it by images. So the latest one I downloaded, and I did it today a while ago, that's 557 megabytes. See, that would fit on a CD if you wanted to use a CD, if you didn't have USB sticks or whatever. Of course, it's usually the other way around nowadays, but anyway, you have to be on the internet to use that. It downloads the whole system off the internet. It's just kind of a basic installer that's on there. It has some basic files and probably like a boot image and stuff. And then there's the i386 one. That's a little older. See, I got it on 119 of 17. And this one I got on 053017. It's 8.8. And it's a 64-bit. That's the one I'm installing. Then there's another one I have downloaded. It's even smaller, 290 megabytes. That's Debian 9. That's Debian 9. It just says Debian testing AMD 64net install. So that is what I was talking about there. And we'll go ahead and get it rebooted, and then hopefully I can actually get VNC up and running and get it back on a desktop video. But if not, we'll have to do it like this. It'll be the only way I can do it. But let's see. Oh, the thing that hit me is, okay, I was talking about it locking up last time. I'm not, the installers can kind of use some pretty serious resources, and I am going to be trying, and I want to be able to do VNC. So right now I have my VGA plugged in, but that makes quite a bit of difference in how hard the machine works, and that sends the signal, not only to the on the screen or the monitor of the laptop, but also over here to my monitor, And that's really nice for me because I can just look straight up at my monitor instead of I can't, things are small over there, so it's hard for me to read it. But I can kind of lean out and read it. So I think that's what I better do. I'm going to unplug this. And in order for me to have enough hands to do that, I'm going to have to get back off of that. So let me get over there and unplug it. It looks like I've already kind of moved it a little bit, messing around with it. But that's not too bad, so I'm not going to. It's really, really hard. Let me get my chair back. This chair has gotten so bad. If you don't turn the wheels the right way, it will want to turn over on me now because the wheels are just flat leaning because the sockets are worn out. So I'm going to have to do something about it. I have the old... I already wore out one base. It originally came with a metal base, and the chair itself is good. It's real comfortable. And so I bought another one. They had them on sale for $50. A plain model. So I have a brand new chair, but that I took the base off of and put it up under this one, same brand, so it would work. Now I'm thinking I need to get out there, and it has a metal base, but one of the wheels broke off. And, well, I won't go into all that. Anyway, I'm thinking I need to do something. I don't want to go buy a new chair, that's for sure. So, now I can use my wireless keyboard. So what I'll do is, before I get started again, let me go over here and do a little quick. I'm sure it's okay, but what if I didn't check, you know? So let me get my, I have to do it over here. I'll just have to open and close it. I can't leave it open all the time. It'll overwhelm my machine, but I'll go to, I don't believe I've been to YouTube Live lately, so I'll just go to YouTube, and then it takes a minute for it to catch up sometimes. Sometimes it just doesn't, when you open it up, it doesn't want to work. Let's see if I have it in my history. Nothing about YouTube. Okay, let's do this. There we go. And I'll just go to the analytics page and then go from there. That should be closer. Yes, it won't be too bad. Live streaming. Okay, I'll leave that up or look at it. Uh-oh. Oh, it said error, and I thought, oh no. I think it's going to be all right. I think, yeah. Okay, we're good. Yeah. And see, it hadn't quite come in yet, but when it does, I'll need to pause it. But then in order to keep the machine from being overwhelmed, I will, because it takes quite a bit. See if I click over here, you can see what's happening there. 27% of the CPU just because I'm on that YouTube Live page. That's why I normally monitor it on my laptop, and that's the only thing the laptop's having to do. So I'm going to close the Firefox, get this back to normal. Just want to make sure I can quickly get in there. Now I can go back to the previous page. But everything, see, that's usually just stays right in there. CPU, about 21 to 25%. Memory is usually not too bad. If it goes up, that'll make me have to stop. But let's see. Okay, let's get back over there. Now, I'll use my wireless keyboard because I unplugged. Well, I still have the keyboard plugged in, but I'm going to stay just like this so I can look and see what I'm switching to. You know, if I do switch, and make sure I can just glance up and see what my OBS Studio is broadcasting. Okay, so now, using my wireless mouse and keyboard, I have to tell myself, what is it I'm doing here? Okay, so I've already backed up what little files I had on the laptop earlier today. So what I'm going to do, now you can either, if you're up and running like this and you plug in your boot media, then you want to do a restart like this. If you weren't, then you can plug it in and then just, start your machine up like normally, desktop or laptop or whatever it is. Yeah, and you can see me in the reflection of it whenever it's like that. So, but looks like it didn't see the, oh, okay. I thought it was booting into Fedora. There we go. Okay, so I can't read it very well. You know what? I can read it better on my preview than I can over there. Okay, as long as I can read it. Okay, back, live AMD 64 failsafe, graphic install, memory diagnostics tool, MTest x86. Yeah, if you ever think you're having memory problems, that's a real good one, and it comes with a lot of distros. It's a little slow. Okay, but it is working. Okay, I'm going to do default because I want it to boot to the live system, because that way, if I was doing it from the camera, my whole point is to try to do VNC over into my Fedora 23 system and show a nice, really clear picture. But having trouble with that, you could do it either way. You could just do a install from the Anaconda boot installer. It's a little graphic. It's sort of a, well, it's usually not just plain text-based. It has some graphics, but they're real basic. They'll be like Windows 3.1 kind of thing, or even before that. Kind of like CLI, a command line interface. It's kind of got some colors and text, and that's all, I think that's what they call it. I think they call it a CLI, the other installer. It's funny because you're seeing me there in the screen, but it's actually just kind of black to me with kind of a hue, a whitish glow, which tells me that it's trying to do something. I guess it's going to work. I've booted this thing up to, let's see, maybe I haven't booted up to the 64-bit yet. booted up to the 32-bit, but I had Fedora 25 64-bit installed on here, so I know it'll, 64. It is 64-bit capable. It's taken way longer than I'd expect, though. So I'm starting to wonder. Oh, it went black is what happened. So what's going on here? It looks like a bunch of errors, all kinds of errors. Error XORed, error XORed. Oh, I'm starting to think that that's not going to work. Okay. So maybe I was all wrong about UNet booting working right on it nowadays. Boy, that's good. I still have another way I can boot to it, but I don't believe it would install right. I have it on my easy to boot SD card into the USB adapter. Dang it. I swear, I never did find the page, but I swear I read it a few days ago or last week, that it said you could use UNet booting. And I used to use it for everything, almost any distro would work. Okay, we'll try this. I'm going to hit Control-Alt-Delete, see if it'll work. If it don't work, I'll have to hard shut it down. But yeah, that's not booting. That's all full of errors from top to bottom. When you see it all spread out across the screen in strange order, like strange looking order, or it usually looks like a paragraph, and when it's all on this kind of wider than the screen and you see errors spread out all over the place, you can pretty well bet you're not getting anywhere. It's all saying Xorg errors, which is the graphic user interface, so wasn't expecting that at all. Okay, let me hard shut it down. Yeah, and if you start out with errors, then you may not want to get into the installer, because you may just probably good chance it won't run. Okay, I'm going to try failsafe, live AMD failsafe. Then there's graphic install and the memory test. Of course, I know the memory is okay on this machine. At least I think it is. Yeah, I don't have anything ever happening to it to give me the idea that there's memory problems. It runs hard on, like I was saying, running really, getting warm in the fan running and it not being able to keep up, but I don't get any crazy errors or anything. Usually you start getting some really weird errors when you have memory problems. So let's see what happens here. Now it's looking more normal. See, loading UB kernel, UBN kernel, and so usually the Debian boots pretty fast, but we'll just kind of have to be a little patient here and see. But this time it's not. Of course, it went black on me. It went to sleep. The screen went to sleep is what happened last time. So I don't know what was happening at the beginning. There we go. Going really fast. My camera is a bit delayed, so it's not showing anywhere near how fast that was going by. But now it's looking normal. So it must have been something with the video driver, which might be a clue. Look at there. Might be a clue that Debian's not going to recognize the video chip on here right. We'll see. I mean, if it has to be in failsafe, sometimes that's, just for a live version, once it installs, it'll download the latest driver and it'll be fine. Okay, so now it's all good. All looks good. Okay, so we'll look at around in a minute here before oh yeah, I want to see if I can do VNC anyway. So, yeah, this is where it gets kind of hard because I can't read it well. Maybe wishing I had my monitor plugged in, but I've looked around it a lot lately and showed it in videos, but it used to be more that came with this basic Debian. It used to have a lot more apps than they do these, I've noticed this time. But, it's good to get started with. This is like Fedora, just basic stuff. But, And I'm not sure if the installer has a, look and see if it has gparted on here, because if the installer can't delete all those, just now dawned on me, if it can't delete all those, just like I had trouble deleting them, putting it on the USB stick, if this built-in installer can't delete them, I'll have to use, of course I can always install gparted, but I'll have to, might have to manually delete these, I just saw them, that's what made me think of it, or the partitions for Fedora. We'll see. But I don't believe you can do. Last time when I got during the live, it was 32-bit version, but I got VNC Remote Desktop working by installing Krfb and Vino. So that's what I was thinking I would do. There's Synaptic Package Manager, and there's the Control Center. Let's look in the Control Center and see. Pretty sure there's no VNC or anything in there. I don't think it comes on any of them anymore. I guess because it can be a security risk. Yeah, no VNC, no remote, desktop. Yeah, okay, so get out of there. I'm going to open up Synaptic. That's the package manager for Debian. And we'll go and look for, that's a note telling you how it works. It needs to refresh the package list and everything. So it tells you to do it every once in a while. And so I'm going to search for VNC. And I'll see what I want. I want Krfb. And you can reorder it, but let's see, I forgot. Well, I forgot really just, see there's a lot available in there, but there should be, I don't know, let's see if there's anything checked in green, then it'll be something that's installed. So no, there's nothing. So I want, might have to, I can't read it in my previews. There's Vino. That's a good little, that's the one that used to always come with Fedora by default. Can't see it. Okay, I want to make sure I'm clicking on the right thing. The last time all I had to do was install Vino and Krfb, and I was up and running. So let's try that. I don't know, KRDC, I guess. Let's see. Okay, you know, it's KRFB. I was right. Now it installs a pretty good little amount of apps, and see that could have been why it locked up last time, because I gave it the memory too much for the memory to do. That's why I went ahead and unplugged my VGA to give it less for the machine to have to do and straight out of memory. Because when you're running live, it's all out of memory, you know. Okay, to be installed, all that stuff. Say do it. And see, when you're in live like this in Fedora or Debian, it will automatically give you the root privileges. You don't have to type them in. Some distros are not like that. You still have to do it, and they'll tell you a, you know, password. Some of them give you a password for the regular live user, but it's a lot easier when they don't. Because sometimes it's hard to find the password, or you definitely don't remember it. You know, I don't. But, you know, these apps, all that list of apps are all in small, you know. I didn't pay attention, and I couldn't really read it from way over here because I have my laptop way over there. I'll show you. Well, you probably saw it a while ago, but see, that's about almost a foot away from my face, so that's how far away it is to me. So, but I've done it a lot lately, so I kind of know without really. And this was not part of the installation. This is just something I need to do in order to try and not have to do this whole video with a blurry, you know, camera pointed at a screen. And, you know, but again, while that's working, I'll just go into it a little bit here. See, what I'm doing is I have these phone cameras pointed at, one pointed at the laptop and the other one back there. It's pointed at me, you know, and that's what I'm switching around to and all. And then, of course, my desktop screencast over here on my Lenovo i5. And I'm using an app called IP Webcam, and it's streaming, you know, through your Wi-Fi, your local network. Well, these phones can only get up to 36, 37 megabits, the best I've ever seen them do, and they'll kind of go back and forth between around 17 to 36. They'll just go. I've watched them. I've got an apps in my phones that I look at the speed and all that, and so I can't. Although the app is capable of 1080p, I have to go down to 720 in order for it to work, because it's still got some lag. Like if you watch my mouth when I'm talking, you know, then you'll see that there's a lag. I say, like, okay, let's put my hands down, and I say, okay, waving. Now I see the delay there. Waving. That's how much delay there is. So that's the best I can get. And so it's not as clear. It could be, and even at 1080p, I've done a bunch of videos holding the phones in my hand and recording at 1080p, you know, straight to the phone. And they're still not quite readable. So, okay, so we're done. And it says changes applied. So now we'll go ahead and let that do its thing and finish up there. Now I'm going to go look for KRFB in the applications menu. Let's see. I think it'll be, yep, it's in the internet. And it will give it a, it's kind of odd what it does. Behind it there, it is, wants to set up K-Wallet. And I don't know if I could just say no and don't do it, but I'll go ahead and do it. Now, let me go where I can see it. Yeah, I want you to give it a password, so it seems like it's not going in the, oh, I see. You have to click yes, I want to use it. Well, I've been doing that, so I don't want to get into anything that will make it not work. So I'll say yes. Now I can put that password in there. Oh, okay. You have to click classic if you want to put a password in there. Oh, I see. Oh, well, I'm going to use GPG. I just don't want to get to where I have a lot of trouble. That's the thing. I want to hit next. Oh, no, I'm not going to install a GP. That's what I thought. Install a GP. You know what? Let's hit no, because all it does is keep bugging me over and over and over. I unclicked yes. Let's see. Yeah, unclick yes and hit cancel. I don't think it'll affect me running this, because before I just didn't bother to put in a password and it was fine. That's a really hard, there's a password in there, but it's so hard to, there's no way I could type that. I can't even see it well enough to see what it is. Let's see. I'm just going to do something temporary for, this is going to be gone anyway. That's all I'll need. Okay, now that can be up and running there. Actually, I can close it, but it will stay running in the background. You can click it and it'll come back up. Okay, and what I tried doing, see what I'll have to do with that password, there's two ways to do it. You have to say okay, so you like, even if someone was sitting here and tried to, they couldn't, you know, even if they got past my 3 routers into here, I would still have to okay the connection, so that's good. There's another way to do it. Click enable unattended, and of course sometimes that's what you really need. Like if you're like I have machines in the garage that I want to connect in here to, you know, so you have to set that up if you're going to do what you want to do. But okay, now I'm going to get over here on my regular machine and get in my remote desktop viewer. Let's see if it's going to work. Oh, I don't. You know, I'm not sure if I have my where I have my router forwarded to. Let's find out. Okay, it worked. Maybe I typed it wrong or something. I couldn't really see when I was typing my... Okay. I think I might have just typed it wrong. If that doesn't work, then I'll try that unattended password thing, but it's talking to it. Okay, I'm going to try the unattended. I don't know. That's how I did it last time in oops, on keyboard. Okay, now let's see. I'll just leave it like that. There. Okay, so there's something really strange that goes on in differences between Debian and yeah, I guess I wasn't paying attention to all that, but I'll just go ahead and close that now. Between Debian and Fedora never did work right, but you had to use, it wouldn't do the unattended password, even though hang on. Yeah, okay, so even though I had them set up, it wouldn't do the unattended password. This one only works with unattended password. It kept saying I was putting in the wrong password. Now, maybe it wasn't saved. That could have been it, because, I changed it from the default, and it didn't save because, I don't know, maybe you got to close the app and open it back up, or I didn't see a save button. Let's see if there's a save button. There's a save button. That's the problem. So it works both ways. It would have worked both ways. And like I said, this is a live system, and that's temporary, so it's not going to matter that I'm showing it here. Okay, so we are on my desktop, and we are showing now. See, now I can do a nice install video. But before I go any further and assume everything's a-okay, let's check on my live stream, see that it looks okay. That was so simple, and that's how it should have been in Fedora. And when I was trying to do this in Fedora, and it wouldn't work. So I don't know why. I mean, I've been using it for at least since 06, 07, and they all of a sudden broke it just for the fun of it, I guess. And I don't know when they actually. From when I was looking up trying to find help on it, looks like it's been going on for about 3 years. And I didn't realize it. I haven't really been trying. Actually, it does work on my Fedora 23, so it probably was 24 and up. Okay, so I'm up. Good stream. Okay. Now, go ahead and close. Now, this time my Firefox is not going nuts. It's just doing normal. Still going to close it so that I don't end up with trouble. Okay, got to make sure I'm showing the right thing. Now, you can see it. You can read it. And I could even try to do, let's see. Yeah, you can get out of this one. I can make it big like that because I can leave full screen. So since I'm only really wanting to show this right now, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I think it'll be nice. Okay, make it bigger, easier to read things for the viewer. Okay, so here's the system. I went through it a minute ago. There's the basic apps that come with Fedora. I'm always going to say Fedora without realizing it because I've used it so much. You get LibreOffice. This is Debian 8. Get VLC. Fedora, you have to install it. I love VLC. And some basic stuff. See, there's my hard drive that I was talking about that I might end up having to format. I can install Gparted. It's not very big. The preferences. oh, let's turn off the screensaver. We don't want none of that going on. See, they always turn that in every distro. I always set that at the top anyway, but if you turn it off, it's not going to. We don't want any power management going on. I don't want it to go to sleep ever. That's fine with the laptop lid, but and that's on the battery. So, you know, if it started getting dimming, I would know something went wrong and I'm not getting power. But so that's cool. Now, no, I don't want it going away right in the middle of what I'm doing. Sometimes it's hard to get them to wake up. They don't want to wake up. Okay, so and that was the control center. I was looking for, you know, the apps that didn't show up. But it's quite similar. Fedora and Debian these days really are laid out quite similar. There's Synaptic I was installing stuff from. But we won't open that up now because we just want to get to our install. So this is called Debian Jesse. And there it is right there on the desktop. So let's click on the install. That U3 system is that Windows partition on my USB stick. Remember, we're running live off of my USB stick. And we did, on this particular laptop, I did have to select the fail-safe version, not the default. So sometimes that'll fix you right up. So I'm going to do, of course, English. You can tell that's what I'm speaking best I can. So continue, and then United States, in case you hadn't figured that out by my accent. American English. And it'll go through checking your disks and all that, your drives. I have so much trouble with I get a sore throat when I talk very long, and with allergies on top of that. I want another cough drop from my throat, but I don't want it to. I don't want to take too many of them too often. Okay, detecting network hardware. Now, what it did last time was. Oh, there it goes. It tells like what? It hasn't. Okay, now some of your hardware needs non-free firmware files to operate. That'd be my Wi-Fi chip. That's all. That usually happens with laptops, and you have to go download and install the company's driver. The firmware can be loaded from removable media such as USB or floppy. The missing firmware files are. Let's see, that's what I tried to take a screenshot of, and that's when it locked up, so I won't be doing that. I sure would like to have a screenshot of that, so I'd know what to go search for. I'm not even, I started to say I'll copy and try to copy that, and then if you have such media, and it defaults to yes, well, I don't have it, so I can't do that. Now you can't select all of that. Well, you can select that, copy, but I can't get out of the installer to go open up a text, text app. Wait a minute. I wonder if I can do that in here. Since I'm on remote desktop, actually I could take a screenshot on this machine, but I'm not going to even do that right now. And to be quick and easy on the resources, I'm going to use sticky notes. Now, there we go. That'll tell me. Okay, Debian. Whoops. '89. Debian 8.8. There we go. That'll be good. That'll help me. I can go. I might need that for searching. So if you're working remotely like that, then you can do that. But yeah, I kind of think I remember over the years, every time I've tried that screenshot, it locks the whole system up. It certainly did lock up last time. Now I don't know if that's why. I can't swear to it. And we'll go back to being full screen. Okay. I'm not sure why. Oh, yeah. See, it did that. It said connected to wired 1 because it did put in the driver for the wired chip. It just doesn't can't do the Wi-Fi. Okay, now let me just kind of give my. Sometimes when you hover up there, it doesn't want to. That's why I generally leave it like that. Yeah, okay, I'm on my desktop. I start getting worried that I've forgotten, and I'm not in the right, not broadcasting what I want to be broadcasting. Okay, now, enter your host name. The host name, single word. I'm not going to try to read all my voices. Okay, so the defaulted domain, but what I want is Dell 1525. That way I know exactly what machine it is. I always give it the name and model of the machine it's on. If I have more than one of the same, then I might use the color. You don't want to get too long, though, because a lot of systems won't recognize long domain or host names. I mean, it's not a domain name, it's a host name. Okay. Now, domain name is part of the internet address to the right of your host name. Yeah, domain name. It is often something like ComNet, so-and-so, so-and-so. If you are setting up a home network, you can make something up, but make sure you use the same domain name on all your computers. Now, I don't put anything in there. You can leave it blank. Okay. Actually, I did put something in my server machine, I think. But anyway, you can leave it blank. It's all easier to do it now than later, though, because you have to end up having to go through. Nowadays, used to you could do almost everything in a command line app. I mean, a GUI app. But like in my Fedora 14 system, I still miss that thing. I love it. I can do anything in the world in that thing. But it's, too old now. But anyway, you have a lot of this stuff you have to. They don't give you any way to do it, but in the command line, and it's a pain. It's not super hard. You can copy and paste the commands, but finding it, because is the thing that's the biggest pain for me. And if you get errors and you don't know what went wrong, Anyway, you need to set up the password for root. And, of course, if you're doing this, read all of this. But I'm going to set up the password for root. Let's see. I don't know for sure what it is I want to use. I just realized, on that Fedora system, it asks you at the beginning, do you want to encrypt your file system? I didn't see anything like that in Debian. I guess it doesn't offer that. That's okay, because I really wasn't planning on doing it this time. I got really tired of typing that in every time. If thought I had if I took this laptop out in the public a lot, then I might want to do that, but I don't. So let's see. Wait. Here, I know what I'll do. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you goofy. What did I do? Yeah, I hit enter without thinking. Okay. Now you got to type it in again. Okay, now it'll tell you if it doesn't match, and I've been just clicking continue because I'm trying to, show how this works, but you could just hit enter, obviously. Okay, now the user account will be created. This is your regular user, and I always just use my first name and with a capital letter. I just prefer to do that because it will, when you go next, it will give you for your that was actually the name of the person, and then this is your username. It'll give you the say, do you want to use this, and that's your name with small letters, and that's easy to type in if you ever have to type it in. If it has a capital letter, I'll constantly make mistakes, so I'll do it like that. You can put in, if you put in like your whole name, then I think it'll give you like your name dash first name dash last name or something like that. But however you want to do it. Now you need the password for that. Now what I was trying to make sure I keep notes. I don't know what. I should have started a new. I'm going to have to start a new sticky note. There. if I don't write them down as I go, I can forget them just like that. Wait, yeah, that'll work. Okay. Now, I was trying to use my previous. I started out to try to use my previous password from the Fedora system. I just reformatted, and yeah, I was going to have to mark all over my old note and make a mess where it couldn't read it, so I had to start a new one. And then I decided to change the password. So, because before I had encryption, root, and user. Now I'm just going to have root and user. Okay, now your time zone. I am Central. Detecting this. See, this thing can go faster than I can. It's doing pretty good. Fedora went really fast last time. Okay, now it can guide you through, or you can do it manually. I'm going to use guided use entire disk. You could say, now if you had Windows on there and you wanted to keep it, let me see, guided use entire disk and set up LVM, guided use entire disk and set up encrypted. Oh, there's where you can do the encryption. Okay. Actually, LVMs are good. I'm used to them in Fedora. And the one good thing about LVMs is they're easy to resize if you ever needed to. Although I've never been brave enough to do it. I'm always scared I'll lose my data, even though you're supposed to be able to resize them without losing your data. Let's see what all this says, because it's been a while since. It doesn't have the one I thought it was going to say. It says use entire disk, see? And I thought it was going to say like Fedora does, where you can, keep your Windows and I'm pretty sure you can, but it's not saying. Let me read this. The installer can guide you through the partitioning of the disk using different standard schemes. Or if you prefer, you can do it manually. That's kind of hard, so I wouldn't do that. With guided partitioning, you will still have the chance to later to review the customized results. That's the way to go. If you choose guided partitioning of an entire disk, you will next be asked which disk to be used. It may only be giving the option of entire disk. Usually you have another option, which is resize, reclaim space is what they say in Fedora and all that sort of stuff. This is what I want to do, so I'm not worried about it. But if you had Windows on here, and you do want to, and when you want to do a dual boot with Windows, you're going to want to have Windows on there already, and then either resize it with the installer or resize it ahead of time. And always defrag your Windows before you start resizing, especially with Windows 7. It'll break everything if you don't. But 7 and up, I would say. Of course, I say 7 because I haven't got anything newer than 7. So I don't know. I didn't miss a screen, So it may be because it has all these Fedora partitions on here, and Debian can't even work with a lot of them. Several of them, I saw before. If you look at the previous video, you'll see all the crazy looking partitions that it did to make that boot disk. So that was for the USB stick, though. It's not the same in regular Fedora. It really just has a boot partition, a root partition, and an LVM for the home user, like Don, me. Which I think is pretty much what we're going to get here. But do I want an LVM? The one thing I don't like about having an LVM is when you have like a completely separate root partition from your home user LVM partition, then a lot of times after you keep using your system and you install a lot of apps, most of that stuff goes to your root partition. Sometimes it'll fill up long before you run out of space on the home partition, and so then you're crippled and you can't add any apps, and you got to really just reinstall to fix it easily. Then the other thing is with Fedora, sometimes it used to, it would take up so much space for the root partition that you didn't have enough left for your home user partition at the beginning. So it depends on the size of your hard drive there, but this is only 120 gig hard drive, so I'm going to say use entire disk in this case, because that's what I've always done with the Bane. Never had any trouble. So I'm going to go like that. You could go, if when in doubt, I would go like that. But if you know, of course, then choose what you like. Okay, now, pay super attention here. Make sure if you have more than one hard drive. What if you had two hard drives and one had Windows and the other is putting Linux in? In this case, this is the hard drive that I want to. So you notice you can't really tell. You just have to know. I'll read this up here. Note that all data on disk you select will be erased, but not before you have confirmed that you really want to make the changes. Okay. So if you can, I think you might be able to like hold down Control and select. No, you can't. So you can only select one. Well, that's good. Anyway, the SanDisk Cruiser pattern, that's what I'm installing from. We don't want to select that. All we would do is break what we're running off of. So what we want is 120 gigabyte Hitachi SDA. And that's the other thing, if you start learning how Linux names disks and partitions, it's not just how they name disks, but how they name partitions. But SDA is the hard disk, and we're going to put it on that. I've already backed it up. I don't want the Fedora anymore, so it's going to erase the whole thing. SDB is what we're running off of for our live, system to do this install. So we're going to go continue. Now, select for partitioning. SCSI, that's SDA, Hitachi, 120 gigabyte. Disk can be partitioned using one of the several different schemes. If you are unsure, choose the first one. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do on the Bane. This is the thing I was just talking about, dividing it all up. It can be like separate home partition, separate home var and temp. The Bane, Fedora does separate home partition. It had, like I said, it has a boot partition, a root, and a home, which is an LVM. But what we're going to get here is just all. I think it'll be ext4 file system. Used to be ext3, but I think they're using the ext4 now, unless they've gone something even newer than that into Bane here. And it's all going to be in one partition, and it's actually case it makes things simpler when you're working around your file system and you're trying to do, especially if you're just learning, it can be simpler. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Like it says, recommended for new users. So if you're a new user, definitely. I've learned that over the years. So I'm going to go with that one. All the files, home, root, everything will be on one partition. I think you're still going to have a boot partition, though, if I remember right. A little, like 500 megabyte. Okay, it'll be a hidden partition. That's probably why they didn't mention it. They figured you didn't need to know that. Okay. Now here's the layout, and this is what you're going to get. This is an overview of your currently configured partitions and mount points. You definitely want all that set automatically, the mount points, and then select a partition to modify its settings, file system, mount point, etc. A free space to create partitions or a device to initialize its partition table. Free space to create partitions. Okay, let's see what we're getting. Guided partitioning. Configure software RAID. Configure the logical volume manager. Configure encrypted volumes. Configure SCSI volumes. That's what they still call them. If you ever remember SCSI hard drives, I actually have one. I had a machine, an old 386 machine, I think it was, or 486. It had a SCSI in it. Somebody gave me. Okay, now here's what we're going to have. We're going to have number one, primary, 115 gigabytes. That's going to be the main partition. Then we are going to have a 4.9 gigabyte swap partition. I forgot about that. And then we are going to, and then there's our cruiser pattern, which we're not going to do anything to. That's what we're installing from. Okay, so I don't know. I think it was down there a minute ago, but this is what, I don't think it matters where you click in here. think it's just a matter of this is what's going to happen. If you don't like it, then go back. So I'm pretty sure that's the way it is. It sounded weird when you read that up there, but this is, I think everything's fine, so I'm going to hit continue. Okay, you are editing partition 1 of the SCSI. No existing file system was detected in the partition. See, it doesn't even see partition 1 of the SCSI. That was what, I'm going to go back to double check. Yeah, partition 1. Okay. Continue. Okay. Mount point. See, it gives us a mount point. Defaults. None. Reserved block standard. Booting flag. Now, I wouldn't worry about the booting flag right now. I should fix that for you. Deleting the partition. Done. Setting up partition. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. Yeah, even see, I know that I have all that stuff for Fedora on here, but it says it sees nothing. And that's because the main doesn't see, I guess, pretty much all of the Fedora setup. I would have thought it would seen at least that 512 megabyte boot partition, but it's saying it don't see it. Okay, partition disk. ext4 journaling file system. See, BTRFS is one of the newer, is probably the newest one that they're mainly using. And I don't even know what JFS is. That might be even newer. XFS I've seen. Pt16, very old. Pt32, that's what we just put on our USB stick swap area, so on and so on. Okay, well, I know I want this one to be ext4. The swap, it should all be, if it's not automatic, I may have to go in a select swap for the swap. We'll see. But I know I'm on number 1, and it should be ext4, and that's what we're going to want. Okay, now let's see what we got here. You are editing partition 1. Okay. Oh, I think I need to wait. Delete the partition, done editing, done setting up partition. This is very different than the last time I even installed Debian. So we're just gonna, I don't know if I need to go down here and say done. Just leave it right there. I'm going to leave it where it started. Let's see. Now I'm in a loop. Okay. Mount point, yes. Mount options, default, boot flag. Are we having to go through a wizard to set? I'm going to do that now. Done editing. I think this is actually making a difference. Okay. Oh. This is what happened. I was clicking around to try to, I'm in the habit of doing this to show when I'm making a video what I'm talking about, and I got it whacked out. I should have been down here. This is what it's going to do. Right here, all this, and finish partitioning and write changes to disk. See, I messed it up by trying to demonstrate, so don't demonstrate. Okay, now, if you continue the changes, will be written to the disk. Otherwise, you will be able to make further changes manually. Warning: this will destroy all data on any partitions you have removed, as well as like we could have removed and added and done all kinds of things. And where I was in a circle there, you could have been changing things, but I kind of made sure I didn't change anything because I didn't want to change anything. They're going to be formatted. So, warning. This will destroy all data on any partitions you have removed, as well as on the partitions that are going to be formatted. The partition tables of the following devices are changed. SCSI000 SDA. The following partitions are going to be formatted. Partition 1, SCSI000 SDA ext4. Okay, partition 5. I don't know why it jumps from 1 to 5, but no, I wouldn't. Don't try to change it. It knows what it wants. And then SCSI 000, SCSI 1, SDA swap. Write the changes to the disk. Now we're going to change that to yes. And you notice it didn't say it's going to do anything to our SanDisk cruiser pattern, what we're booted from, so we're good there. Even if you don't understand every detail, which, I didn't really understand every detail. I've just done it enough times over the years, I get the general idea. I do know the back end of what's going on. I've done a lot of partitioning and all that, but you don't have to understand all that just to just to install Debian or Fedora or whatever. Now, copying data to disk take a little while. This may not go too long, but good thing about it, see, when you've got your basic system that you're going to install on your USB stick, if you're not using net install, then it'd go a lot faster. If you're using net install, then it has to download it first and then write it to the disk. But since it's on the USB stick already, now I think it will get to a point here, it should, where it'll allow you to select. I think it's going to get to a point where we can select like the desktops and any apps we want to add. And I may not even know, we'll see, I may not even know for sure whether they're on my USB stick or coming from the internet, and we'll find out the hard way when we click do. But there are certain things I'm going to want, and I want to go do them now because it's easier to do it now than later. Because you can, usually there's several groups you can pick that are easy to see and figure out, and just going to want to do it that way. So while this is, if I can get this to come back, I can minimize it. Yeah, we're doing good there. So that'll not going to take a long time, hopefully. But I'm going to go check on my live stream. Hopefully this Debian will run good on here on this laptop and still play my videos and do the things I need to do. Because usually, most of the time you don't have to do any more than you really want to on a Linux system. It just runs and works, and as long as you can get the app, you got the apps you need on there, then you'll be good. I fiddle around with them constantly, but that's not necessary overall. You can. All you really need to know is get the installation done, and then okay, yeah, we're all good. Get the installation done, and then learn how to use like in Debian's Synaptic Package Manager so that you can install apps. And I think I'll go ahead and close this browser again just to make sure I'm good. And let's see, we're about 3/4 of the way done now. So I was fixing to try to think of something to show besides this, but it looks like it's really going pretty quick. So just barely had enough time to check on things. I can hear my fan running over there. I know it's working pretty good, but not overly. It's not working so hard that the fan's rattling. When it spins real fast, it rattles. Wish I could find a fan for that. Dell 1525. I'm sure it'd be expensive definitely not worth buying one because it'd be $25 and more. I looked. They're a little thinner. They're not like a regular desktop fan. You can't just put one of those in there. Even if you could figure out how to make it fit in there, of course they're designed differently. They have a special shroud on them, for the laptop and everything. But anyway, it works okay. It hasn't. If it ever gets to where it doesn't spin right, then I will have to do something for it if I'm going to keep using it. The laptops, that's one of their worst enemy. They get hot. A lot of people think their laptops died, and all it is they got hot for so long. Especially people that set them on the bed and stuff, and see the ports are all on the bottom and the back, and the covers will block the ports. They get so hot for so long that the cooling, the paste, the grease, some people call it grease, the CPU grease cooling paste will dry up, and when it dries up, it doesn't transfer the heat well. So if you'll clean them out, get all the dust out of them, put some new paste in them, they'll run it. That's why this one was when it was given to me. Almost every laptop I've ever had somebody bring to me to see what's wrong with it or to give to me, that was the first thing it needed doing, and then it would run fine. They'll shut down. They get hot, and they'll just shut down. All right, it's done. A network mirror can be used to supplement the software that is included on the CD-ROM. They still call it CD-ROM. This may also make newer versions of software available. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. That's what I was thinking. United States, right? And if you happen to, of course, if you're familiar with all this, then you might want to pick something else. They would have address, like names that would kind of give you a clue as to where they were, like what state they were in and stuff. But they don't do that so much anymore. So I'm going to leave the default selection. US 50p US I think I used to actually know some that work better than others. Like I said, they used to say University of so-and-so, California, or Ohio, or whatever. Now they're just all names that you can't tell where they're at. And not necessarily, like I'm in Texas, but Ohio and California were really fast mirrors, so I would do stuff like that sometimes. Because some of them would just not work, they wouldn't contact. Okay, if you need proxy, no, I don't need proxy. Okay, now it'll bring in the apt list. Instead of Debian, DNF, or Debian, DNF in Fedora, this is apt, aptitude. That's what the package manager is in Debian. I don't know why I keep comparing it to Fedora, I guess because that's what's on my head. And you wouldn't have to do that, but if you want to get your system, basically completely installed and ready to go, then you would want to do this. If you just want to, what you saw on the live system and nothing more, then you could just say no to that. Or if you just don't have, you don't have any way to, some machines don't have Ethernet connections in them, nowadays. Some of these newer laptops and all they have is Wi-Fi, and if your Wi-Fi wasn't working, you want to get installed and then, put your Wi-Fi drivers on a USB stick or something and plug it in and install it so that you can get on the internet, and then you can go do all that with Synaptic. Okay, let's see. It seems that the new installation is the only operating system on this computer. Oh, okay. If so, it should be safe to install the grub. It looked like it's finished, and it didn't ask me if I wanted to add anything. Oh, well. If so, you want to install the grub bootloader and to the master boot record of your drive. Warning. If the installer failed to detect another operating system, like if you had Windows, that's present on your computer, modify the master that is present on your computer. Modifying the master boot record will make that operating system temporarily unbootable, though grub can manually configure later to fix it. Okay, I'm going to say install grub bootloader to the master boot record. I'm going to say yes, and I believe it's going to be done. Okay, let's see. You need to make the newly installed system bootable. Okay, so it's going to do that for me. By installing a grub bootloader on, that's still talking about grub. I thought it was marking the hard drive as bootable. Installing a bootloader on the device. The usual way to do this is to install grub on the master boot record of your first hard drive. If you prefer, you can install it elsewhere or to another drive or even a floppy. Well, no, we don't want to do that. Entire device manually. No, we don't want to do manually. We want the Hitachi. We don't want it on the SanDisk. That's not going to be there anymore. That's the USB stick. Okay, so that should be good there. So you did have to make a selection and pay attention. If you hadn't paid attention, I almost didn't. Almost didn't read all that, and I almost clicked next. So, because when sometimes the most dangerous thing is when you've done something a lot of times over the years, you don't pay attention to the new version, and you'll get yourself in trouble. I've done it more than once. I think it's going to have to be finishing the installation. It's going to have to be cough drop time. Okay, let's see. Installation complete. Installation is complete, so it is time to reboot your new system. Make sure to remove the installation media, CD-ROM, floppies, so that you boot into the new system rather than restarting. Now, I don't know if it's going to reboot on me. I may have to hurry up and grab my USB stick out of there, or it may just go back to the desktop. Fedora goes back to the desktop. Let's see. Running remove live packages. Okay. I better put this little candy down. This is cough drop. It may be going to reboot. If it is, I'm going to try to grab the. Let's go ahead and, if I can. It's not responding. Come on. One time I really need it to. I wonder if escape will get me out of there. Oh, man. There. Okay, it went back to the live. I was afraid it was going to reboot on me, and I wanted to be able to switch to my camera to show it. And it's still what I want to do anyway. Okay, so we're back to our live system. And of course, when we reboot, we're going to lose our remote desktop connection. Of course, we can connect back up, but it's installed. And oh yeah, I will still have to go and install. To do remote desktop again, I'll have to go reinstall Krfb and Vino, because that's not going to be installed in that didn't come off of my USB stick. I installed that in the live system. So let's go over here, go back to our camera. Okay, now I'm running off the USB stick, so instead of rebooting and trying to hurry up and grab it out of there, I'm going to shut it down, take it out, and then boot it back up. Okay, let me get over there. Let's see. Oh, shut it down first. Right. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'll do that. I'm going to do it remotely, and that'll make me lose my connection, but that's no big deal. Oh, I'll show you what I'm doing. Oh, here we go. I've been wanting to use this. Okay, so you can see my camera and you can see my desktop. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say, where is it? Should be oops. Okay, it's in system. Yeah, there we go. Shut down. Okay, yes, I want to shut down. Now it's gone. I'll go ahead and close that for now. Okay, now we'll go back to just number 2 so I can only see that. Or we could go, yeah, that's good. Okay, got my USB stick. And we're going to boot it back up. Let's put it, I want to get the lid and put it on it. I always keep thinking, well, I need to switch to the right camera is the best view, but heck, the laptop's a camera too. Laptop's a mirror. Oh, my biggest problem is this chair. My gosh. Okay, we're booting up. Let's get looking here. Well, it already booted up, but it was showing a few options, like probably a rescue, stuff like that you could do if you needed to. Okay, so I'm going to get my wireless keyboard and mouse all ready. Now it's still booting up. You know what? I'm feeling like maybe I may have to, got to get a cough drop. May have to take a break again. Which is probably a good time. But since we're in the middle of booting up, we'll go ahead and boot into it. And then I'll probably do a little rundown, run around, go around the system, get it back on the VNC. I hope I don't have trouble. I may have to pick that default, before on the live system. Hitting escape and shaking the mouse. It's still black over there. It should have really, it's been showing something or already came into the boot screen. I'm afraid I'm going to have to, there was 3 or 4 options. I may have to pick a, like I did in the live system, a basic video driver, and then I'm going to have to install a video driver for it to work properly. Okay, so looks like the thing, and I'm dying to take a break. So I'm going to go ahead and just shut it down, and then I'll come back after my little break, and I'll see what it takes to get to. I think I'm going to have to do that. Use the fallback mode. All right. Let's see. Yeah. All right. That's what I'll do. I'll take a little break, and then I'll come back and try it again. Oops, sorry. Thought I'd hit my exit.